What's up, everybody? Almost done with the wild card round of playoffs. Moving on to the NFL divisional round. You get to see those really strong one seed Ravens and 49ers play this time around. Really excited to get into each game. Line's already out for them. Let's get into it. And of course, don't forget to like the video if you're enjoying it. Comment who you're taking this round and for the Super Bowl, and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to us, and you keep getting the football content throughout the rest of this playoffs. Sliwa, start us out with game one with the Ravens and the Texans.
Yep, going right into it. Game one, it's our first Saturday game. Got the 4 seed Texans picking up the win against the Browns, commanding fashion. CJ Stroud looked great. The defense also looked great, and figured it was really just a matter of time before Flacco really had a game that showed his age. It just happened to be that wild card game. But CJ Stroud looked great, as we mentioned, 3 touchdowns, 274 yards, tying the rookie record for passing touchdowns in a game. And there's really no stats that favor a rookie quarterback, and that's why we see a spread here at plus 8.5 on the road, going up against the one-seeded Ravens, coming off the bye as well. But CJ Stroud hasn't looked like a rookie quarterback so far. He's pretty
Mm-mm.
much defied all the odds up until this point. So just off the bat, I really like the 8.5. This Texans defense looked really good this last week. Two pick sixes, right? I know they had the two
Yeah, well,
interceptions, but
garbage time pick sixes, but yeah, two of them.
yeah, but at the same time, this Ravens team also the 1 seed, earned the bye. And then you have Harbaugh, one of the better coaches, using that bye as well as Shanahan in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a really good game. I think the 8.5 might be a little bit. Um, I want to hear what you have to say, but Lamar is only 1-3 in the playoffs in his career. 0-2 in divisional rounds. Do you think he finally gets over the hump in
Yeah,
this one?
not a great quarterback in the playoffs, and I keep talking about it. It's because of how one-dimensional a quarterback that he's been in the past. This season, he's looked really good from a passing perspective, and that's what's really lifted this Ravens up to one seed status and probably Super Bowl favorites in a lot of people's books. Off the initial reaction, 8.5 does seem like a lot. Like we've been talking about CJ Stroud all year, as everyone has, because he has defied what people can expect out of a rookie quarterback with a rookie head coach, and a team that's been so bad the last few years. But they look really solid. The throws that he's able to make off his back foot, flick of the wrist, are just so impressive when you're watching the game. And because of all that, it makes me want to take the Ravens at minus 8.5. How can you watch the last few games with Texans? How could you have watched how well they played against that great Browns defense and not be hammering this 8.5? It's hard not to love the 8.5, which is why I don't like it that much. If it makes that any sense. The Texans have proven they can compete with any team in football. I'm pretty sure these guys played week one, and I love the Ravens to beat the crap out of them because I thought that the Texans weren't a good team this year, and no one did it at that point in week one. I'm trying to pull up the score of that. Remember, it was closer than I wanted it to be, 25-9. So they ended up covering the 10 points. That was my lock of the week that week. But I got nervous because the Texans were really holding the Ravens offense to a few points, especially in that first half. Ravens scored 15 in the third, 10 points in all other quarters. So it was a scary game. And backdoor cover had written all over it. All that is to say, the Texans have competed with the Ravens even from week one. Offense wasn't going as of yet, but since then it has. So it's really scary to be if you're Baltimore. You play these guys once, they got film in you. They had a really good coach in D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Sloak on offense that are going to try to figure out how to fix whatever the Ravens threw at them in week one. I always love a team that's playing a rematch and being the underdog and having lost the first round. A lot of things
Yeah,
to do actually there. What do you think about all that though? Because it does seem like you said, CJ Stroud looks like he can compete with anybody in this league right now, and that's what makes me just almost drool over this 8.5. But it just looked too enticing.
yeah, no, I mean, I totally get what you're saying with that. Because yeah, the 8.5 looks too good, and that's what I was initially leaning for off the bat here. He looked great against the Browns, but I think at the same time we should put a little bit more into the fact that the Ravens did get the week off, the extra week to prepare. Um,
Great coach,
it's
like you
not,
said,
it's not
great coach after a bye.
right. It's not as beneficial in the regular season because you know who you're going to play after the bye. You do kind
Correct.
of have to prepare for both at the same time, but on the other side, that's a lot more time to rest for these guys, and still game plan at the same time. Whereas the Texans aren't looking a game ahead in the playoffs. And another key note here, the Texans, I feel like they've really shut the game out and closed the door on the Browns with those turnovers. The Ravens are the number one team in the NFL in turnover margin. I
Hmm.
believe plus 12 on the season. So they really take care of the ball, especially because they use that run game. Lamar not trying to force too much on the offensive end, hasn't really been fumbling it as much as he has in some of the years past. So I don't think they're going to give the game away necessarily. So
No, no,
it's
not.
really going to be like a grinded out type of game. And do the Texans have the personnel to stay in a long grinded out game on the road in
Yeah,
Baltimore?
yeah.
I
What
mean, we'll
does
see.
one thing that does concern me is, you mentioned the Ravens want to run the ball as much as possible, with Lamar, with any of their slew of running backs behind that really strong offensive line. More importantly, they don't really need to pass the ball, and they don't want to because that's not Lamar Jackson's strength. What scares me is Texans are the seventh worst team when it comes to PFF tackling grid. This is a Ravens team with Lamar, with a guy like Zay Flowers, with their litany of running backs. You don't want to give them second chance, efforts, run after contact type situations. These guys will eat you up if you give them a missed tackler or two. So that concerns me for the Texans. But other than that, like you said, this game, there might be no turnovers in this game. The one team that slips up, they might really shoot themselves in the foot. I got a feeling it's going to be similar to what you see in week one with a lot of great defense, actually. And I think I'm kind of leaning towards the under after seeing that week one matchup of 29 or 25 to 9. Um, I really like the way the Texas defense is looking, and it's hard to not love the Ravens defense against a rookie quarterback. As good as Stroud has looked. It'd be a good game. It's interesting.
Yeah, no, I feel like I still got to lean towards the
You
Texans off the
do.
bat,
You
but
do. You have to lean against they're playing well. Like I thought for that Lions game, I thought for that Lions game that my laptop just went crazy. That 3.5 was too good for the Rams. I was like, the Lions have to cover this. And it was a 1 point game. So sometimes if it's too good to be true in football, sometimes it's not. And it's just go take it. So
yeah.
it could be either way there. I think it's a great line because the Ravens can blow out anyone and TJ Stroud can stay with anybody. So who's going to prevail?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. All right, moving on. The other number one seed, that being the 49ers for the NFC, hosting this one on Saturday night against the Packers. These two haven't played each other this season, but 3 years ago they did meet in the divisional round. A little bit of roles reversed. The Packers were the one seed, and the
Hmm.
Niners went into Lambeau and stole the game. That was when Aaron Rodgers was still there, but off the bat, this game or this line was a little bit big, I thought, but looking a little bit more into it, the Packers are the first 7 seed to win a playoff game since that extra team was added. So they're definitely going against all
Good for
odds.
them. Good for them.
Moving on against the Cowboys in the last one. But Jordan Love has looked absolutely great. Now 21 touchdowns and one interception in his last 9 games.
That's
Really
wild.
playing as well as anyone. But the Niners, on the other hand, they're still stacked. Same reasons as the Ravens. Give Shanahan an extra game to prepare. Another great mind at the coach, and then just also give these guys a chance to practice together. There's a lot of midseason acquisitions. I think it might benefit this team a little bit more than some others to get that extra game or that
Good
extra
point.
week.
A really good point.
Um, but yeah, so the Niners still here at -9.5, even after the Packers' dominant win against the Cowboys. Do you see the Packers carrying over some of that momentum and staying in this game, or do you think the Niners here are still a solid play at the -9.5?
Yeah, much like the last game, I could see it going either way from this time half. It's hard to see the Niners lose this game, but frankly, with how good the Packers have looked lately, you can't overlook them completely. I guarantee the Niners were not preparing for the Packers in this bye week. They might not have been doing it for the Cowboys either. They might have just strictly had the week off, but I guarantee they did not expect that they were playing the Packers this week. So definitely don't count these guys out. Cowboys, even despite being bounced out of the playoffs, were PFF's fourth highest graded team. So this is a legitimate team that the Packers decimated on both sides of the football. But the Packers have a style of play that they want to stick with and a game plan that they need to execute. You saw it come to fruition against the Cowboys. They won the kickoff. They elected to receive. They went down. They ran their scripted offense and got up early. That's a key formula for the Packers. Get up early. Don't force Jordan Love to have to throw the ball on first, second, and third down to to succeed for this Packers offense. So that is the key to the Packers' success this game. They need to not fall behind the eight ball and let the Niners get up even 10 points, even 7 points early, because the Packers need to execute their style of offense which is very balanced with AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones out of the backfield. So it's all about how this game starts. It's going to determine the rest of it, as everything does. But if the Niners can get out to an early lead, I think the Packers are going to struggle. If the Packers can hold the Niners to even within 7 points and one score, then it becomes a much different game and a much different game plan from both teams.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're absolutely right because the Packers secondary looked great against the Cowboys. Jair Alexander back had a pick in that last one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't know. If the Niners get up early, really lean on that run, it could be a long game for them.
And the
But
Packers don't have a bad run defense by any means. It's not their strength. The Niners are just a really good team at running the football, and it certainly helps when you have Christian McCaffrey there too.
yeah, I don't know. Again, though, I think I like the plus 9.5. Love just
You
looks
have to. It's the
way
same kind
too
of thing
good
as
for
CJ
me to not
Stroud.
trust.
Yeah, the type of throws that he's able to make. I'm watching there as a Bears fan, like, dude, there's no way. Like, the ball's in midair. I'm like, there's no way he's making this throw. Just like almost, I can't believe someone of a first year starter making these types of throws that he's making, and he makes them look effortless, much like Stroud's doing.
Right.
It just like again, you talked about it. I could see it going either way, kind of how the initial offset of this game goes. But Love and the Packers offense are rolling too much right now to not take the 9.5, to not like it. I mean, just you look at the two lines, it's much easier to like the Packers with the way they're playing than the Niners.
Right. It is.
Um,
It is the
just
easy
because
pick.
their offense just looks great. They're clicking at the right time, and that's all it takes in the playoffs sometimes. It's just baseball more than anything, but football too. If you get hot, it's hard to keep a team to get them off the tracks and stay hot. So
There was a lot of points scored in that Packers Cowboys game, but that's still a pretty big over or
yeah, I don't
total.
think I like. It's hard to like a total of 50, especially when you get a
Yeah.
defense as good as the Niners. But with the way both these teams have been playing lately, I could see it going either way. I'm hoping for my Niners futures that they win, but I've never been more scared of a seven seed or even a wild card team in my life than the Packers right now. They're pretty intimidating.
Yeah, I feel like you'd almost rather play the Eagles or the Bucks
Yeah.
in that
Oh
spot.
my God, I would 100% rather play the Eagles, which is crazy. But their defense
Right.
is ooh,
Yeah, that's wild.
ooh.
All right. All right, but going into our Sunday night matchup and probably the best matchup of the week. Seen this one before in the
Yeah.
playoffs. We got the Chiefs going to Buffalo. Um, Bills just beat the Steelers by 2 touchdowns. Really took care of business at home. Steelers did make it close a little bit, get into within a touchdown, but Bills shut the door. And
Hmm.
then and the Chiefs also just took care of business against the Dolphins. That one wasn't really close either. Um, in negative 30 degrees. Mahomes still threw for 262 yards. And we just saw Josh Allen with 3 touchdowns. So it's really primed up to be a great matchup. Seen it before in the postseason. Mahomes has won both of those matchups. Is this going to be the time that Josh Allen finally gets it done? They are at home in Buffalo. You could argue this is the the best matchup he's had to beat this Chiefs team.
Yep, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, the Chiefs with the weakest offensive weapons, but at the same time, they do have a good defense over there in Kansas City, one of the better ones. So yeah, I mean you get Buffalo minus 2.5, almost an even spread. What are you leaning with? Are you going with history and Mahomes making a three-peat now against Josh Allen, or is Josh Allen gonna finally really step up and like make that postseason jump?
Yeah,
Still
it's
the divisional round.
really hard. It's really a really good game. I'll tell you what, I like the under no matter what in this game. I think 46.5 is too much with how good this Chiefs defense is. Honestly, the Bills defense is no slouch either, and then how much history these two teams have. Obviously, the woes that the Chiefs have had at wide receiver are well documented, and then the script, like you said, for the Chiefs owning the Bills is well documented. It's gonna be a tight game no matter what. I do think let's throw out the spread and talk about money line here because I think that's just as much in question as the spread. I think the Bills do take this game in a really tight, low scoring one. And the reason I like them now more than ever is they finally have James Cook and a running back that if he can hold on to the ball, which he hasn't always, that they can rely on the running game and someone not named Josh Allen, which is, and especially between the tackles, which has never happened in Josh Allen's career. That is a paradigm shift for the Bills. They're normally playing this game in Arrowhead. Having it at home is clearly a huge advantage. Doesn't against the Chiefs they play just as well on the road as at home. It's Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, but given the fact that I like the aspect and the wrinkle of the Bills run game, I like their odds here. It's really tempting to take the Chiefs plus 2.5. There's no way in my mind that the Chiefs lose by more than a touchdown. So I think it's a teaser there. If you like any other line would be good. But I think I got to give it to the Bills this time. Personally, I want the Chiefs to win because I think it'd be funny. Just the narrative, Patrick Mahomes owning the Bills is it kind of makes me laugh, and I do like seeing the guy succeed, despite not having Tyreek Hill this season. But you got to think if the Bills can get up early, that the lack of wide receivers, it's going to show up no matter what. The lack of wide receivers will hurt the Chiefs this game. But is it going to be enough? Rasheed Rice, the wide receivers, really stepped up lately. Kelsey, let's see what he can do. He's one of the best tight ends ever. Let's see if he can bounce back after some light games lately. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I do think the Bills are finally gonna get this win against the Chiefs in the playoffs. Like you said, they are at home. Buffalo looked awesome, and that win against the Steelers, just snow flying all around the
That was pretty
stadium.
cool. Pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, no, I don't know. I think Buffalo's gonna finally get it. As I mentioned, I think they finally have better weapons for Josh Allen than they do in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, you always see like history repeat itself. With the Bears, I just remember, I mean, now it's like 4 or 5 years ago, but when they made the playoffs, Cody Parkey missed the field goal. He was missing like two of the Bears' losses all season were on missed field goals. I just feel like you're going to see Kansas City wide receiver drop a big pass like late in the fourth.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen eventually, whether it's this game or the next. But I think on the road against a team that you're not even favored to beat, I think history's gonna repeat itself. I think Kansas City's gonna drop one. I mean, you mentioned Rasheed Rice has been great, but this Buffalo defense is still really good. They could key in and lock down a couple guys. You need to have numerous options to beat them, and I don't think Kansas City has that, while Buffalo does on the other end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The
I
one
just I
who
think they I think they win this game. Probably not by a lot, like you said.
I think
Maybe
like
just by a
21-20
touchdown or
type
less. But
game,
yeah,
24-20, 24-21, something like that, 23-21. One of those just barely squeaking out three touchdowns kind of game. The one wrinkle and the one thing I really sided the Chiefs here, these guys played already. The Bills won. It was such a close game that um, you can really say it went either way, but it's much easier to make, I've talked about this before, defensive adjustments than is offensive adjustments. And just the brain trust of Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo in Kansas City is such an advantage over just about every team for defensively. And that just helps the Chiefs there. I don't know what the weather's going to be like in Buffalo, and it kind of helps
yeah.
both
I
sides.
mean, yeah, they're both good in the cold. I mean, you just saw the Chiefs play, just
Yeah.
dominate the Dolphins. But I think another thing, because you just mentioned it, that was the game where Mahomes was like mad about the call and was just, like arguing about it to Josh Allen.
Offensive
Hey,
box. Yeah, yeah.
but Josh Allen's just like, screw this guy. Just
I beat
this
you
is
one time in the regular season. Calm down. Calm down. Yeah,
Mahomes just
I've had
lost his
more.
cool. I mean,
Yeah,
hey, the
yeah.
Bills got his number now. They
We'll
figured
see.
him out.
That'd be hilarious if they do. It's like they just go, and that's like the turning point for them in their two respective careers.
All
So
right,
it's just something to
last
talk
matchup,
about.
and as we record this video on Monday night, haven't seen the finish of the Bucks versus Eagles game, but regardless, we do have the format set. Winner of that one will play in Detroit. Detroit won their first playoff game. It was absolutely close, just by 1 point, but it was their first playoff win in 32 years. Really felt like honestly either team could have won. I kind of felt like the Rams actually outplayed them, even
Yeah.
losing by just a point there. But the defense on Detroit did come up big. While like the Rams were gaining tons of yards, Detroit was able to stop them, force field goals, really held their own in their own end of the field. And I don't know, this one's tough. I mean, you don't know who you're gonna get. I guess we could talk about Tampa first, because I kind of think Tampa's gonna win tonight and beat
I
the
do.
Eagles
I
at
do
home.
too. I do too. Even
Especially with no AJ
I'll
Brown.
say, I thought so. Even with AJ Brown was playing, I was on the Bucks to cover certainly. Uh, just and then even to win, I saw some stats that the Bucks at home really good record against the spread, especially as underdogs. Like they're like 8-2 this year as underdogs. Like they're heavy in the green as underdogs against the spread, especially at home. Like this is a team that people overlook a lot because they're not flashy. They don't have a ton of big name players, but they play really well as a unit. Um, if I'm the Lions, you're definitely scared more of playing the Eagles just by their potential, especially with AJ Brown coming back. But um, don't overlook the Bucks. And even if the Bucks do lose to the Eagles, like they're still a good team, and they really outkick their coverage in terms of expectations that people have had for them this season.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean the Eagles really need to turn around. They've been terrible heading into the playoffs now, but when we just saw it last year, they just went to the Super Bowl. They're capable of making it back
Yeah.
there this season. But yeah, without AJ Brown, um, Jalen Hurts with the finger injury, probably not playing at 100%. Yeah, I think the Bucks win it at home tonight.
Let's
And
say this though, Slate. Either way, regardless of the outcome, do you think either of these teams go into Detroit and win that game?
I don't I don't know. Like the Lions scare me because they play down to everyone's level.
They do. They're
Um,
capable because their
like
defense. They're
like if
capable
the
of doing.
Bucks win and you get +6, I love the Bucks at +6.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's a fair
like
point.
because the Lions will just play anyone close even if they still win.
It does seem like that.
Like it's
Um,
just I don't know. That's just what it feels like from what I've seen
I
this season.
personally, I love the
But yeah, but
Texans
here's
better
like
than the
you think the
Lions.
Lions advance regardless.
Yeah, winning and covering are two different things, but yeah, I think the Lions at
It
home
is.
with they got this team, they're 2 years removed. A lot of these guys are on the team, but they won 1 or 2 games in the season. Um, this team has done and gone through a lot with Dan Campbell that, like, I think there's a lot to be said with the loyalty and the unity of this team behind a really emotional leader or head coach. Don't always love that. Most of the time I don't. I want a cerebral X's and O's head coach, like a lot of teams that are perennially in the playoffs they have something to be said about Dan Campbell, who people don't give him credit, and I kind of did in that statement. He is an X's and O guy. Like he's a smart dude, but people just overlook it because he's just the way he acts and talks.
Right. Just
But
character.
that's what really gets this team going more than anything. Like it's hard. It's truly invaluable. And these guys have something special going on right now. And I think I like them no matter who they play.
Yeah, no, I mean you see guys like Eberflus wants to be like Dan Campbell so bad. He wants to be a motivator,
Yeah.
but it really works out. Guys rarely buy in, but like when they do, when you see it in Detroit, like makes a huge difference, especially when you have Ben Johnson, good coordinator, and just a
Yeah.
lot of weapons to play with. But
He's got smart
yeah,
guys around him and his coaching staff. Luckily, you can't be that motivator if you have no intelligence around you. He's lucky to have some really smart guys on both sides of the ball helping him out. And again, he's
right,
helping himself out. He's a smart guy, but he's
right.
also got some great coordinators that are going to probably be poached from him real soon because of how well they've been performing.
Yeah, no, it's well built, but yeah, I think to that point too, it does feel like just if anything, if there's any team of destiny out of all these three, just it's got to be the Lions over the Eagles who just stumbled in the playoffs and the Bucks
Mhm.
who also I just feel like they stuck
Yeah,
in at the last second.
yeah. It was really who was gonna. It wasn't who really won the NFC South. Like what team wasn't going to win it, and the Falcons and Saints just weren't going to win it. And that left the Bucks who
Yeah,
solid all year. You know what? I hope the Bucks win tonight, and if the Bucks beat the Lions, I'd be happy to. They're a fun story. Give Todd Bowles a lot of credit for what he's done, regardless if they win or lose tonight. But this is a solid team all around that's dangerous because they can hang with any team, and they have. And the Lions
yeah,
can play down any team. So I wouldn't be surprised if somehow the Bucks do play them and the Bucks pull it out. But it'd be
yeah,
tough on the road against the Lions team that It's going to put up a lot of points. The Lions can make a few minor adjustments. If they're for and this point stands for if they're playing either the Bucs or the Eagles. They can make a few minor adjustments and just tighten up that secondary, which they did against the Rams. They're going to win, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I mean that I do agree at the end of the day. They are at home again too, and it just seems like everything's been going right in the Detroit area after
Yeah,
Michigan
and
winning the
and
championship.
they're yeah, they're
Lions getting that first playoff win in 32 years. Why not keep it
yeah,
going?
they're playing with a lot of anger after that loss against the Cowboys. But that's the video, guys. I'm really excited for that divisional round. I'm really excited to see the Niners and Ravens play. I think a lot of us are in the same mindset that it's hard to see those guys not in the Super Bowl, but that's why they play the games. That's what makes the NFL playoffs so entertaining. Despite them both being favored by more than a touchdown, they're both playing some really hot teams right now, Sliwa, and some really hot quarterbacks. So
Yeah,
you never know what's going to happen in those games. That's going to make for a good weekend of football.
yeah. No, I mean I'm with those hot teams on those bigger spreads because
Yeah,
it's hard not to be right now, but
it's
we
really
might very well
hard.
see them get blown out. So
Yeah,
we'll
it's
see.
tough. It's tough. I can see those games being decided by a field goal at the end of it, last second field goal, or those one seed juggernauts just rolling from the beginning to end. You never know. But we'll check back in with you guys in a week and talk about those NFC and AC championship games after these ones are decided. Best of luck.